Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Welcome to Dig on America, where we speak truth to power. Every week, we give you the dig on how American history, policies, and media created the social and political issues we face today. DOA is independent media supported by listeners, but they'll tell you we're just fake news, deep state propaganda, funded by George Soros, the Clinton Foundation, BLM Marxists, and
the Cobra Commander.
Boba Fett.
God, that show is so good. It's just so good.
It's a good show.
Welcome everyone to Dig on America. This is Jason Dutch here with Michelangelo Faminier, the producer extraordinaire, and we're back. So they
guess who's back?
They haven't taken us out yet. They're trying
again.
The Goldie and the rest of the trolls are trying, but you know what? We shall persist. Happy Black History Month, everyone. With us today, we will actually be talking a little bit about some Black history topics in the second hour. But for the first hour, we are going to continue our candidate profiles. And today we have, again, not one, but two ladies running for United States Congress. Now, last time it was running for Senate, but this time it's running for Congress. So we will introduce them and get right to it because they've got limited time and they have better things to do than talk to a couple of yahoos like us. So we'll start with
I'm offended.
Right below me here, and I'll give you center stage. So welcome to the show, Angelica. And I hope I'm going to say this right. Duenas.
It's a tilde over the end, but I wasn't able to do that on my computer. Good evening, and thank you so much for having a. I'm sorry.
No, welcome. And we have Haas early today. Yes. It's a first. All right. Haas usually doesn't join us until the second hour. And also with us today, welcome into the show. This one is going to be tough for me too. Melanie,
see if you get it.
Diarigo.
Close. It's pronounced Dorigo, Melanie Dorigo. Nice to be here with you all. Thanks so much for having me on.
No worries. Thank you to all of you for joining the show. So I always I've been talking to both of you guys on Twitter for like a few weeks now. But then I do this every single time I book a guest. Because we talk virtually. So I never ask exactly how do I pronounce your freaking name? Okay. Probably should do that, but I never do it. I just figure everyone should be Jones because I'm a stubborn American. So so with that, I'll let Mikey, I'll pass off to Mikey and he can get things started.
Well, I think we have a little something to do first, Dutch.
Well, I thought you were going to do the elevator pitches. You want to do that first? So
yeah. Let's do that. Oh no, okay. They can do their elevator pitch after we embarrass them.
Yes, that's a freaking great idea. So, and by the way, ladies, we do swear on this show, so hopefully we don't destroy your campaigns. All right, so we're going to play a game.
Too, so hopefully I can keep it under control myself.
We're going to play a game with you ladies, and this game is called Four Down Territory. So very simple. We will ask you each 4 questions because we have 2 of you. We'll probably keep it to 3. We'll ask you each 3 questions. You will give us 3 answers, maybe 4 answers. We'll see how it goes, how fast it goes.
There's 4 of us, and there's 1 person out.
Yeah, I was seeing that, but we don't want to be 40 minutes in though either. So we'll see. All right.
No, it'll be fine.
Mikey, why don't you do the honors and ask the first question to Melanie?
Pass. I'm gonna pass to Haas.
Oh.
I pulled the big Haas. Own big Haas. I like it.
All right, big Haas.
On Haas.
First question.
What are you, K Solo now? Passing the mic. Oh my God. All right. Before a big presentation or speech or anything for your campaign where you're going to be front and center stage, what is your de-stressing mechanism? Is it blah, 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 blah? Is it shaking your hands? Is it just meditating, taking a deep breath? What is it?
Don't load her lips. What's your answer? No.
Yeah. This is my second time running. So certainly in the last cycle, I would kind of try to take in all the air that I could and, just try to feel my presence in the room. This time around, it's not quite as nerve-wracking. I think speaking in front of crowds has gotten a lot easier. So I think if I really want to psych myself up to have, a really great, strong presence, I like to listen to some music. I am a mom of 3, and there happens to be this really great song. I bounce to the beat of my own drum that my kids and I dance to. So I highly recommend it.
Perfect. That's a great answer. Okay.
Nice.
I'm going to ask you a question that is absolutely guaranteed to bomb your campaign.
Uh-oh.
Well, this was quick.
Who has all right, your favorite New York pizzeria?
Say Pizza Hut.
That would bomb your campaign for sure.
In the East Village of Manhattan, which is outside of my district, but just a train ride away, there is a pizza place called Luzo's, and it is next level, out of this world, best pizza you've ever had. It's more in the style of pizza that you would find in Italy, but it is unbelievable. Other than that, for your basic pizza place, anywhere in Manhattan or even in my district, you just go in and you get a slice, and it is chef's kiss.
Very nice. All right, now
I'm from New York. Come on, this is the pizza capital.
Well, hey, you're talking to 3 guys from Chicago, so okay.
Nope.
I lived technically in New York for a little while, but I was on Long Island, so that's a totally different state as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it's not so bad.
It didn't feel like New York at all. I was like, this is Joliet with accents. Like, this is just normal. It was very suburban and weird.
Don't hate on the people of Joliet.
Come on now. Next time you come back, we'll show you around. We'll take you for some real pizza.
Yeah, because we were eating like White Castles and Domino's. I'm like, this is not the New York experience I demanded.
No, listen.
Lied to.
New York City pizza, of course, top notch. But I will tell you that the suburbs everywhere, in every borough, and the suburbs outside of New York also has some pretty banging pizza.
Nice. Right, there's some good, I'm a fan of New York pizza. As a Chicago guy, I'm not ashamed to say it's good.
Yeah.
Mikey, you're done talking.
Dutch, we're gonna need you to turn in your Chicago cart. Just go ahead. You know what? Just put it by post. Don't even hand it to. Don't even hand it to me. Just put it in the post. What is your secret terrible favorite band? Because everybody's got one. That one group that you listen to that you kind of just don't volunteer that information.
And why is it Coldplay?
And why is it Coldplay?
It's Nickelback.
Why is it U2?
That's such a good question. Oh gosh. Terrible band. I don't know. I think I have some pretty good taste.
Everybody does. It's fine.
I mean, well, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but I would say in terms of out of character, I do occasionally listen to some old doo-wop music, which I know is super weird. But when I was growing up, my grandparents listened to a lot of doo-wop. So occasionally I'll put on a little Frankie Valli or something like that. And I think that's, pretty uncharacteristic.
Yeah, non-ironically playing doo-wop.
No,
I like this song.
I'm like, no, I mean, I may have gone to a Frankie Valli concert in the last, 8 years or something. So
last week, during COVID, no mask on. It's out there out there getting ridiculed like AOC. All right, so Angelica, we're gonna let you ask a question here for your new BFF. It could be as simple as, "What's your favorite candy?" It's up to you. Go right ahead.
I'd say, what's like a something you like to wear that makes you feel confident now that running for office? Because I know sometimes picking an outfit can be like hard.
It can be for sure. I have a Boss pair of black high heels that is like full on power, and I recently got this really
So
nice
does Big
long
Haas.
coat. Oh yeah, we can text the pictures. I'd love.
He's
to
got
see
the
those.
red bottoms on him and everything.
Oh right, no.
Like
Mine
when
are
my
all
wife
black.
looks at when my wife looks at shoes, every time she goes, oh, it's always like she shows it to me, and it's always got a red bottom.
The expensive ones.
I've heard of those.
Yeah.
Mine are not those. They're all black. They're very high heel, but it's like it fills me with power. It feels like so. Yeah, that's what I do.
I love it.
It's like your
Beautiful.
cape. It's like your cape.
Superman cape, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Wonder Woman.
Superwoman cape.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I think you've succeeded without destroying your entire campaign,
so.
but we'll see how it goes for contestant number 2.
Get your hands off the buttons, Dutch.
All right. Angelica.
No, man. Last name, dude. Last name.
Go ahead.
I already went through this.
Yeah,
my
go
thing is
No, man.
No, go ahead, dude.
mispronouncing
No,
stuff.
dude.
Come on.
No, go ahead.
I don't remember how she pronounced it. All right.
Yeah.
So
Okay. No. Don't help him. Don't help
Do
him.
not. Do not.
No.
all right.
Just to give you.
I already
was
said it.
thinking-
I already said it was Duenas, and she corrected me.
But what was
but-
the correction?
Because
Does it-
I had a
does it-
kid yelling at me, you
You weren't paying
shitbag.
attention.
And
Right.
I
You weren't-
didn't
you didn't
add
care
the
enough to
tilde.
pay attention.
So Duenas, he did phonetically say it correctly.
Does it-
Unfortunately, because I don't know how to do it on the computer. But how I explain to folks when they have a hard time, like how do I say it? It's Duenas. So kind of Duenas.
Yeah,
And they
I'm
just
gonna
kind of
ask.
put
I'm gonna
together.
put Big Haas on the spot about something later on. So don't worry about it. That asshole will get his
Stand
due.
it. Stand
All right.
it. Like
That
that's
asshole's gonna
that's a
pay-
regular part of the show. dude.
He's-
I don't know
he's
what you're
gonna
talking
pay-
What you mad for? We was
He's
just trying to get you
completely-
to say it. Look at
All
you.
right.
mad.
We want you to
I
treat
already-
all of our guests equally.
Now,
Yeah.
now you've made me already forget what she just said. Anyway, all right. So
think the
my
tilde,
question will be this:
Yeah, she couldn't get the tilde over the end.
Okay, put it.
what was that? Haste, Big Haste.
Here we go.
Jason douche.
What is when you were a kid? When you were a kid, what was the favorite breakfast that you would have made for you at home?
That's like interesting question. We didn't really eat breakfast a lot at home. I mean, it was like kind of get up and go a lot of the time. So like sometimes on the weekends, if my mom was up for it, because actually she used to work till 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was a lot of like kind of doing it ourselves. But I always have liked like over easy eggs. So I learned how to make those early on, and I would make my mom breakfast. So I would say eggs and like whatever other like kind of breakfast meat would be around, bacon, sausage, spam, bologna. Like, you know, we're not picky. We're not picky around here. Especially
Spam.
back then.
Fried spam is that deal. Don't let
You
people don't let people shame you about the spam.
No, and I make my eggs.
And you
over
know what?
easy,
Fried
too.
tortilla. Like you just fry up a tortilla a little bit. Oh my God, the flavor is so different and so much better. So putting a fried tortilla at the bottom and then putting the over easy egg and then eating it like that. Oh, talk
Okay.
about chef's kiss right there.
Ah, you've both done this on the show. This is great. All right, Big Haas, that puts you next.
Okay.
During your master's thesis, please explain.
Lord, we're gonna pray for him.
We have.
But I
one
am
of
going
those-
to ask something. What is the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome in your political aspirations? What it might be something at home. It might be something as far as expectations or misconceptions about you as a woman or you as a Latina or anything. What is the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome in your career?
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry.
Oh, I didn't mean to make you cry. I'm sorry.
asshole. This is the light part of the show.
No, don't worry.
This must
we'll
be
kick 'em
something
off.
hella inspirational.
So in 2020, I made it to the general with only $8,000, and
Wow.
volunteers. And in the middle of my general campaign, my dad died on our way to the hospital in my car because we were afraid to call 911 and getting that bill. So I had to do CPR. And we still got a bill at the end of it all. So that happened in August, and then I had to keep going. Well, I had to plan his funeral. And then keep on going. And so in November 2020, with less than $80,000, I was able to get 43.3% of the vote, over 91,000 votes, against an incumbent with over 25 years of political experience, with $1,400,000 at his disposal. And we were able to do that without any special tools, any consultants. We didn't even have Excel. So that's one of the hardest things that I've had to do, that I've done. And I'm very proud about being able to make my dad proud, I think.
Well, condolences to you, and definitely congratulations for being able to, accomplish what you accomplished, through that time.
Thank you.
Hey, Dutch. I fixed your last name for you.
Oh, yay! Thank you.
And
Love it.
I also took the privilege of putting tildes over everyone's ends on everyone's name, no matter where they're at.
And just
on the computer, I have to go copy paste it from somewhere, because on the phone I can do it. But I don't know how to do that on the computer.
Oh wow!
just to get back at Big Haas, by the way, it's not Latina, it's Latina. Okay, so keep the la up off your tongue.
The love
All
is for love.
Yeah, okay. Trying to mansplain it down to her. Okay, I get what you're trying to do.
Gosh,
I told you it wasn't going to be long.
What
till
is
you
this?
got
What
that
is
fire
this?
back.
What is this fixation you have on me?
I told you
I
it
don't
wasn't going to be
understand.
long till you got that fire back. All
Well,
right.
I heard that you're normally not around here for the first
I'm
hour.
normally
So they're
normally coaching teenagers in softball and
Oh,
baseball until
you
about 10
see?
o'clock at night.
Busy dude.
So,
Which is why we usually get through this segment faster, because Haas
Oh my
asks for people's
God.
life story.
I'm sorry
Anyway,
that I take a long time with things.
Mikey, what do you got, sir?
So it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's asleep. You need a little snack. What are you hitting up in the kitchen?
Snackety snack.
A spoon full of peanut butter.
That's mine too.
She's
Just
a real
one?
one.
Just one spoon?
All right, Big Haas. Mug.
Big one.
I'm just saying.
One ladle of spoon.
Do you
Just
ever
to fall
put a dab of honey on it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my
have,
favorite.
we have all kinds of different types, but yes, absolutely.
I put just the drop of honey on the spoonful of peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah. My dad had this really kind of like it sounds weird, but it's like bomb. So it's like a bowl, you put some honey, stinky Mexican cheese, doesn't matter. The stinkier, the better. A tortilla, like a little bit toasted, maybe even over the fire. Like don't even put the comal, like just put it right over the fire, get it a little bit crispy, kind of like tastes a little like burnt. That together, it's like ridiculously delicious. It's like I've never ever seen it done by anybody else, and everybody think it was so freaking weird. It's ridiculously good.
Very nice. That sounds good. I'm in.
Nah, I'm not eating it. I don't do stinky cheese, man.
We got one more question.
Oh,
we got
wait.
one more question, Mikey. We missed Melanie.
Oh, yeah. Get back in this hot seat. Where do you think you're
Get
going?
back in there. Where
You
think you're
cannot
going?
escape.
All right, I've got a good one, I think. So you are also a mom. I think you have 5 children. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so which one helps out the most with the campaign, and what do they do?
Wow, that would be my oldest, Rocio, and they are amazing. They are my camera person. Does this make sense person? Is this funny person? Yeah, she's 15 and amazing, just like super duper smart. And then my youngest, Bernice, which was named in honor of Mr. Bernie Sanders, our little Bernie, is also very, very helpful and very much aware of what's happening, and one of my littlest biggest cheerleaders.
Beautiful. Well, those were all very good questions. So let's we'll steamroll ahead here. Um, so since we just had Angelica on, Melanie, if you would give us your elevator pitch. Why are you running for Congress?
Yeah.
And just a little bit about your campaign before we torpedo it.
Sure. Well, thanks for the opportunity. My name is Melanie Dorigo, and I'm running for Congress in New York's 3rd District. And it all comes down to a very simple premise. Representatives should represent their communities, not their corporate donors. For too long, we have seen government get bought out by corporate PACs, by lobbyists, legislation bought and paid for at the expense of all of us. It's why we don't have universal health care. It's why our reproductive rights are about to get gutted this coming June at the Supreme Court. It is why we have not addressed climate change and a slew of others. I promise you, if there is an impediment to progress, there's usually a lobbyist behind it. I'm a mom of 3 amazing little change makers, and I'm fighting for their future, and I'm fighting for all of our future. So we're here in this seat, ready to take it back to the voice of the people. So we're very excited about the grassroots campaign that we're building, and we hope that you'll join us.
Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum.
Yeah. All right. Angelica.
Hi,
Duenas.
thank
Why
you.
are
Yes,
you? Why are
perfect.
you run? Tell us a little bit about your campaign. What's your elevator pitch?
Yes. Well, yes, my name is Angelica Duenas. I'm running for Congress in California's 29th Congressional District, which is East San Fernando Valley. We are all entirely in Los Angeles County. I am running against a over 20-year entrenched politician who has been in power representing my community since I was in junior high at every level, the state, the city, and now federal. My community has progressively gotten worse as I've gotten older. And I am also a mother. I'm raising my 5 children here in the district. They attend public school. And we are struggling along with everybody else, trying to make ends meet and still trying to achieve something better. And what we've been seeing, and it's not just me, it's like my generation and everybody around us, is that instead of things getting better, things are getting worse, things are getting harder. People my age aren't able to move out on their own and buy their own place. They either have to rent somewhere, or what we're seeing a lot more of it, which is adding on to their parents' place. And so instead of moving out, they move their spouse in, which is beautiful in regards to sense of community, but it's really been made out of necessity rather than choice. And so as a pro-choice candidate, I do believe that we, as Americans, as people who live in the richest country in the world, deserve some basic things such as Medicare for all, universal health care, affordable housing, tuition-free higher education, which would include forgiveness for those loans for folks who are still in debt, a guaranteed jobs program. We deserve to make things better for our entire community, universal child care, universal elder care. These are the things that would make, put people first. What we're seeing is that our people in power are beholden to the mega corporations, big pharma, big oil, the private utilities, instead of the people, and their choices are reflected in the policy. So I am here running a 100% people-powered campaign. I take zero corporate money, only small donations. And here in the East San Fernando Valley, we are proof that people are looking for something else. We got 43.3% of the vote with less than $80,000, with no specialists, no special tools. The people are hungry for something different. The only reason why we didn't win in 2020 is that we couldn't get to enough people to let them know that we're here fighting for that I'm actually fighting alongside with them, because I'm right here in the struggle. So that is why I'm running, because I believe that those of us who have the privilege to be aware that the system itself is what is the problem, and that we need to change it. I think it is our responsibility to lead that fight and ideally inspire other people out there to be leaders and to join us and to take over these seats of power back for the people, working class, and rise, all of us together.
Yeah. Very well done, ladies. Okay. So this is a bit of a unique show. Both of you have something in common, and we'll get to the real issues in a minute, but you're both progressives, or at least more progressive than your incumbent. I don't want to presume what you know or believe, but you're both running against Democrats, what I would call corporate Democrats. So what I'd kind of like to do is just give you guys, and if it's okay with Haas and Mikey, I'd like to, I'm going to give both of the ladies the screen here, and I'd just like to hear like them converse with each other for 5 minutes on being a progressive and running against an incumbent corporate Democrat. So I'm going to pull us out of the, I'm going to pull the three of us out here. If you just challenges are.
Hey, big guy, make sure you finish your sentence before you pull yourself out.
I was trying to pull me out, but you pulled yourself out, and I ended up hitting on me. But yeah, just talk about that, and we'll go from there.
Talking about how it is running against an incumbent, right? That in general.
Yeah, you cut out before,
yes.
So we didn't hear the question.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So let me start that. Just let me rephrase that one more time. So you guys are both running against corporate Democrats, incumbent Democrats within your district. Angelica, I know yours because I'm not far from there. I live in Carson, and Bakersfield, kind of. But so I know that yours is Tony Cardenas. I don't know as much about yours other than that it's Tom. I believe it's Susie or something like that. I don't know that much about them, but talk about like why you're running as a progressive and how corporate Democrats are, keeping policy, like your opinion on how you think they're keeping bills from actually getting passed, like universal health care and stuff like that. I'd like to just hear your thoughts on, two ladies who are in a similar situation and how you guys are dealing with this. So I'll let you guys go from there.
Thanks. Just to clarify, I ran against a corporate Democrat in 2020, and I did so because at every step of the way, he was blocking not only progressive legislation, but straight up Democratic legislation, and hiding behind the Problem Solvers Caucus when he was doing that. Something very exciting has happened in my race. I fully intended to run an epic 2-person race, a rematch, if you will. But the incumbent has decided not to seek re-election. So I am now in an open primary situation, which I think is very exciting for the progressive movement. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting races of 2022 and one of our best shots at really, getting a progressive elected. So, sadly, and, Angelica, you're, I think, in a similar situation as a second-time candidate. You've got more name recognition. I think, our shot at actually getting over the finish line is, it's so much better this time around. So, we're really excited about the momentum we're building and, keeping eye on the prize.
Yes, no, it's been quite an experience. This is not my first run. Actually, this is my third run.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I ran in 2018 as a Green Party candidate. And we did okay under the circumstances. Actually, I was a Bernie delegate in 2016, made my way out, whatever. And we got 6% of the vote, which was pretty good, considering that less than 0.5% of registered voters are green here. So it's like 0.3. And then, we went ahead and we reshuffled things, and we ran again in 2020 as Democrat, and we got 22% of the vote in the primary, and we got 43% of the vote in the general, with absolutely nothing as far as what people would just consider your traditional way of doing things, I guess. Like to this day, we have people who are like on their ass, like, how the hell did you get 91,000 votes? Like, it doesn't make sense, because I don't do it. I haven't done any of the things, and I'm terrible at doing all the things that you're supposed to do, such as call time. And so people, if you have money, like, just give me some. Like, I'm the worst. I'm probably not going to call you for it. So like, I have my call time person, and I'm so good at like evading it that she'll be like, dude, how the hell is it 8:45? And I'm just like, I'm really entertaining, and all of a sudden all my tricks come out, and I don't like asking people for money, because I have never done that. We've literally, like, when I was a kid, like, we almost lost the house, and what we were doing, we were picking up bottles and cans and cardboard, and we found food in the trash. We were eating out of the trash. Nothing gross. Like, it was like 7-Eleven, and they would bag it up, and I think they knew. But anyways, like, I just, asking people for money, it feels so weird. And that's something that I really need to.
Yeah, no, for sure. Listen, I grew up working poor. I didn't grow up with my parents actually at all. They weren't in my life. And, we really struggled as well. So I think for candidates like us, it can be, I don't know if it's pride, or, we're so used to taking on so much of the world by ourselves, and we're used to facing the struggle. I put myself through college, and, it sounds like a very similar story for you as well. And I scraped myself, clawed myself out of poverty, fought for a better life. And I know how hard that was. And I think it's part of why I'm driven to the point of running for Congress 2 cycles in a row, because I don't want anybody to go through that. I want working families to really have ladders of opportunity. And I think, when you are so used to taking care of yourself, you don't often ask for help, right? And I think it's something, especially as women, we have to constantly remind ourselves that it's okay to ask for help, and we should ask for help. But it can make asking for money and being, disciplined with call time very difficult. I think for myself, I've been very disciplined about it this cycle. I think it took me maybe 500 or 600 hours of call time before I felt like I wasn't going to vomit anymore. But it's just not easy. I just came to the realization, I know that my community needs a fighter. And for me, in the last election, we were outspent nearly 10-1, and we got in a global pandemic where we couldn't knock doors at all. And we got a little under 30% of the vote with a generational entrenched incumbent. So we did quite well. So this time around, I am not leaving anything on the table. We are all in, 100% full steam ahead, trying to do what we can. So if you need a little call time buddy to nudge you, I'll be your accountability buddy.
No, thank you. No, just like, I'm like, I hate it.
You're like, no, I'm just not going to do it. I mean,
like,
it's
literally
expensive.
Anything else. Let's hang out, but no.
It's expensive. It is expensive. Everything is wildly expensive. I think folks don't realize that even with grassroots candidates, staffing costs money. Digital buys cost money. Mailers are extraordinarily expensive. Postage, extraordinarily expensive.
FEC filing. Oh my God.
Expensive.
People are trying to charge. FYI, it's really easy. It's copy paste. Let's talk later on that.
Yeah, no, it's difficult.
Oh my gosh. It's like, and then how people just try and take advantage, and like, people just, I get so many phone calls, and like people are just, like, I'm like, what money do you want from me? Like, I literally have $5,000. So unless you're trying to volunteer, like, good day, sir. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's like, we're like in this place where it's like, we don't know what we don't know. So what do we do next? We don't know. Because nobody knows. Like in our team, we really don't. And so it's kind of funny that we're working with other people that kind of know too, but they're also up and comers. But they've been studying other campaigns and looking at things, and they're like, dude, like, there's a 7-point gap in like all this runway to do it because we didn't do any of the things. We didn't do emails last time. We didn't do calls last time. We didn't do all kind of stuff because, well, one, I didn't think about it, and then two, we couldn't do it, or we didn't have money or time or whatever. We did door hangers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We did door hangers and then like digital stuff and stuff like that, and because we couldn't knock on doors. Like,
Yeah,
we got
I
42%
know.
of the vote without being able to knock on doors. Like, that's crazy.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing. When I think about going up against entrenched incumbents, one of the more challenging elements that I think is not really often talked about is sort of the institutional help they receive, and the apology tours that we as progressive insurgent candidates often get from folks that maybe we've built with, we've organized with, we've supported, and then they call you and say, sorry, they asked me to endorse, I have to, and
You understand, right?
Oh my gosh. I just said to my friend, I feel like I can write a book, how to run for office as a woman and get stabbed in the back and the front and still live to tell about it. So,
Yeah.
it's rough. It is rough. There are so many
Mhm.
barriers against you. And it's, from a societal perspective, it's really disheartening, right? Because we're out here fighting for our communities. We're fighting for working families. We're fighting for folks to have a voice and a say in their government and in their country. But it's like the world, the societal constructs working against us are so great. And I think
at all levels, like, well,
levels.
you should be paying your staff more. You should be this, you should be that. I'm like, nobody's paying me. Like, nobody's thinking about those things. Like, we're all volunteers here, like they just disregard you because you're a candidate, and somehow, like, I literally live in a converted garage, and people, and eventually it's like, maybe I should be reconsidering priorities. But I understand that the fight is way bigger, and the fact that I have the knowledge and the ability to even think about these things, that gives me the privilege to have, honestly, to have to do something about it. You're saying that the party and all of the stuff that they, the help that they get, it's institutional help. It's very interesting. The other day, apparently I missed some deadline, and I'm like, well, okay, whatever. The president of some like super important local club, hours after the deadline, asked a friend of a friend, like, why didn't Angelica, and blah blah blah, this, that, and that, making her think that it was like, oh my gosh, Angelica, maybe like they want to endorse you or something. Like, tell them to please extend the endorsement deadline. And I kind of did. I didn't like. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Can we get a couple of more days? They were like, yes. And at the meeting, it was just a beat down. Like, it was like they threw me into like the Coliseum with a fucking stick, and they didn't tell me like what was going on and stuff like that. But fortunately, they didn't. I mean, for me, I'm a fucking stick master, and I just like whoop their asses with it. But they really like went out of their way to get me to somewhere that I was not gonna be. I don't even know who you people are. But let's bring her in and just be like really fucked up, right? And this is what they do. I'm literally like a lady with 5 kids, like up until like I just got a job, up until like a couple of weeks ago, on food stamps, like legit struggling lady. My car is being held together by like gorilla glue. It's like, really? And this is what they're doing. They're going out of their way to attack us. And this is not just, this is like across the board. Progressive candidates are being like preyed upon by these these just in crowd types from every level, the grassroots to all the way up to the elected officials. This is what we're up against. We're literally not just fighting like the other side of the aisle or whatever. It's literally the people who were supposed to be on the same side, and the vast side. It's not. It's a class war that we're seeing here. Like,
You're
it's a
absolutely
class war.
right. It is not left versus right. It is top versus bottom. And we'd like to think that the Democrats are fighting for civil rights, for human rights, for working families. And I when I look at the progressive movement, I really view us as trying to bring the Democratic Party back home to its roots. Let's be proud of who we are and what we're trying to accomplish. And it's it used to really frustrate me how divisive establishment Democrats could be. But I see it almost as a challenge now, as a progressive, as a proud progressive, as someone who's out in my community day in and day out, fighting for policy, not trying to sugarcoat it, really getting into the details and bringing folks from all walks of life into the party and into the movement. Now, I think that our future as progressives is really going to be saving the Democratic Party, uniting the Democratic Party, and getting voters excited again and giving them a party they can believe in again.
Absolutely. Giving people something to vote for. Right now we're going door to door because, well, we have to. We're gathering signatures to get on the ballot. And, speaking with people, our district is majority Latino. Most folks are from Mexico, and most folks are Democrat leaning. But even they are like, well, what's the point? We did all this work for Biden, and look what's happening. So what are you gonna so just bitter and over it, And they like to hear that our candidates are not coming from money. We are literally people powered. And that is what really is inspiring our community to come around and rally around me, my campaign, and others here in Los Angeles that are doing the same. So it's a very exciting times. People are over it, but they are looking for something else. They're not just going to nothing. People are not completely out of the game. And so this is a very special time.
They're over status quo politics, right? And I think we have seen that nationally. We have seen corporate Democrats, status quo Democrats get swept up in the so-called red wave. There is no red wave. There's no red wave.
Not here anyway.
There's a blue evaporation. That is what is happening. And when we get out in our communities and we have real conversations and connect with people, we are the ones that are going to put our party back together. And I think that's what we're seeing nationally. And so it sounds like that's what you're seeing in your district. That's what we're seeing here. When we have a rally, we get over 100 people to come out, and it's exciting. And, I think we're really moving towards something special.
Yes, we are.
Beautiful. I actually could have just sat. I don't know about my co-host. I'm sure that I could have just sat back and listened to that, because that's something organic that we haven't done here before. So hopefully that was all right with my co-host. Big Haas, why don't you go to a policy question, whatever you want to ask these women.
Should I steal Mikey? Should I steal Mikey?
I did do the Dutch to you. So, I mean, if you did, that's fine. I can't be mad.
Okay. All right. Because I'm
turnabout is fair play, sir.
I'm sincerely interested in this since we've been talking about it. It's kind of a running theme, but and Mikey usually brings it up, but today I'm going to. What are your thoughts, opinions, potential policy desires as far as taxing the church?
Yeah, let's tax it.
Listen, I think if you're going to get involved in political activities, then you absolutely need to lose your status as tax exempt. And I don't think that should be controversial. And we have seen, certain religious institutions really push the boundaries there. And, I think we can still have a discussion if you're truly going to be apolitical. But for the ones that are getting in the game, then get in the game. You're here, pay the bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. So we got about 12 minutes or 13 minutes or so left with you guys. I want to ask you guys, and Angelica brought up what happened with her father, and obviously that's just tragic. And I can tell you, in my own life, my daughter was just in a coma for 2 weeks with, they're pretty sure she had COVID, though she tested negative, but the damage was COVID related. So I thought it was long COVID. But then the bills come, right? You know what I mean? So talk about not just you. I know you guys both support universal healthcare, but what do you guys see as really the path to getting those Democrats who might not be, pushing for that outside of the 7 or 8 that are, to get on board with that? What is the message that you have to get universal health care passed?
Yeah. Well, listen, we know that universal health care is wildly popular across America. Americans want universal health care. I do think we need to really turn up public pressure. And I also think we have to be careful because while there are, I think in the House, there were over 100 co-sponsors this most recent time it was introduced. However, we do know that there are many political games played. There are certainly advocates who are pushing for universal health care via Medicare for all. And then there are the politicians who will sign onto the bill as cover and tell you that they support it until it actually comes up for a vote. So I think, what I would like to see more of, certainly from our representatives, is to advocate and really try to build coalitions within committees, within caucuses, but use their platforms and get out there. Because at the end of the day, I believe that this is an absolutely fixable crisis that we're dealing with. When we see our senior citizens having to scrap together their money to pay for their medications or cut their medication in half, when we see young people not able to afford their mental health medication, or folks not go to the doctor because, I don't know if I can afford the bill. I've been in that position too. I mean, I'll tell you, this is nowhere near, your stories, but I had my gallbladder out a couple months ago, and we happened to have, for the first time in 10 years, we had a regular point of service insurance plan, not a high deductible healthcare plan. And I was having such bad pain that I was up all night, several nights a week. I couldn't sleep because I was getting gallbladder attacks. And I said to my husband, if we had had a high deductible healthcare plan, there's no way I ever even would have gone to the doctor. And that is, on the good side of things, right? People are dying. This is life and death. And I think we have to remember that.
Angelica?
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I got really stuck on what you were saying. What was the question?
No, it's okay. So number one, why why are you such an advocate for universal health care? Number one, but number two, what would be your way to get the message for universal health care across to Joe Schmo in the middle in Congress, who says they support it, and then it comes time to vote for it, and they're like, yeah, well,
yeah, exactly. Like Melanie said, we have quite a few who have signed on to it, but they do nothing for it. They don't talk about it. They keep on talking about Affordable Care Act at best, if anything. They talk about access and making it affordable, and we need to make it easier, but they're not really fighting for what we're fighting for, which is universal health care. I think that, in my opinion, where the squad and those others that are strongly supporting Medicare for are failing is utilizing their pulpit. I mean, we are going to be one out of 430 some odd people in Congress. Okay, let's be serious. And it's a seniority game, and they make it super extra hard to even bring things to the floor. If people understand how this is really stupid, it's like you really can't do anything for like the first 6-8 years. But get bought out by like whatever corporation. So when you're actually able to do something, in Congress, you're already like sold to the highest bidder. So I think, or my plans are here locally, is to have a space, a big enough office space to literally share space with my community, where I will be having space where people can organize, where we'll be holding workshops and teaching people. I want to have at minimum one field trip a week coming through my office, where we're going to be teaching children how to organize and, get out there and get to know their government, get to know who does what, and that way they can appropriately, push their concerns and bring attention to problems that need to be solved. And most importantly, is to utilize our social media platforms to literally teach the nation how to organize. Los Angeles, we take it for granted. You trip over an activist it's like Starbucks is around here, It's not like that everywhere. People don't know how to do that, and it doesn't come naturally to any of us. And so teaching people how to organize locally, and then set up freaking this day at this time at this place, respectively, we're going to go out there to the state capitol, to wherever, and get shit done. What we need to make sure is that people in their respective areas are pushing those representatives that aren't doing what they need to do. And I feel that I could have like really cool, like, fire chat talks talking about like who I spoke to, who let me in, who didn't, who, whatever, who's being cool, but surprisingly give people props, whatever. I think that we need to literally organize this. It's just not like, oh, you people need to this, you people need to, how do we do it? People don't know how to, who do I ask? How do I do a thing? Can you give me a template? All of those things. I feel that, I want to help teach the nation how to organize and mobilize. So to educate, activate, and agitate, whatever.
Can I just build on what we were saying just very quickly, because I think this is a really important point as we think about how do we move the needle. And like, my mantra has always been, if we can't change their minds, then we need to change our politicians. But I think something really incredible happened last year, even though in a slew of inactivity in DC, I have to give props to Representative Cori Bush and what she did with the eviction moratorium. And she created a new lever of power as a first-year representative. She grabbed her folding chair, she put it on the Capitol steps, and she sat down when everyone else went home. And she said, nope, I know what it's like to be homeless, so I'm going to sit right here. And she forced President Biden's hand. That never happens. A first-time representative, one person in the House, one representative was able to do that. So I'm interested in more of those collaborations. How, because we've seen it done, right? How do we create new levers of power to push the needle and represent working families?
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis girls are like that.
Yeah.
No, if she want you, no, we're not. We're not going anywhere. Well, then I'm not leaving. That's very St. Louis. Love you, Corey. So
it's a good strategy.
they will go there. I was going to ask something about getting the youth involved, but then Angelica kind of already said it. Some other big things like education, and especially being like in the Chicago area, we've talked about it probably 50 times at least on this show already. You can have one of the top schools in the nation that churns out senators, doctors, lawyers, and then in the same zip code, I'm pretty sure it's definitely the same area code, there's a school that it's got like 65-75% graduation rate.
Right.
Do you have any ideas for like for education and building back up our public school system?
I do, but Angelica, I want to give you the opportunity to go first since I feel like I keep jumping in. So if you want to go first, I'm happy to pass the baton to you.
Well, yes, as a mother of 5 children who are just super amazing, super smart, and just, inspiring. I also see and live through the struggles that it is having an ill funded and poorly managed school system. LAUSD is one of the biggest in the nation, and also very mismanaged. I feel that we have lots of money. If anything, I feel that the money is there. It's how are we using it and how are we allocating the resources? So I do believe that we need to start looking at the whole picture. You have all these pockets of money, and the bureaucracy is just so ridiculous, where there'll be money sitting there somewhere for a school to use, but they have to use it in this specific way that they don't need it. They don't need this thing. So now they're going to build a bridge to nowhere because that's the only way that they can use this money. I think it's so ridiculous how they tie the hands of school districts and schools to make it almost impossible to fix the problems that need to be addressed that aren't necessarily impossible or super hard to address. And this is why we here in LAUSD, we're seeing a lot of charter schools making their way into our communities where they're literally stealing resources and funding and space, by cohabitating with other schools and all kinds of terrible things that are happening. But at the same time, to the other, the resources, but at the same time, you really can't blame the parents for doing whatever they can to try and get their kids something better. because
Right.
some of these charter schools have more flexibility in how they can utilize their resources. So I believe that we need to make it easier and more community centered and more accessible for parents to have a say into how schools are being ran. I think it would really open up to a lot of different ways of educating our children, emphasizing, cultural awareness. Like there's some communities that could benefit in having an Armenian bilingual program around here. Uh, you
Yeah.
know, uh, you know, anything really. Like what is it that the community needs, and how can we build around that if that's going to be something good for the community, for the children, for the parents. So I think that we need to make it easier for people to be involved, because when you get involved in these things, you find out that, I'm sure as Melanie has found out, it's not that easy just to change a policy that seems to be very simple. Like, hey, why don't you just do a paper packet instead of the Chromebook? We can't, because all of these things, and it's like, what? So I think that we need to make it easier to make change happen and be more accessible to the families that are living the education that the districts are providing.
Yeah, go ahead,
Um,
Melanie.
yeah, thanks. So, I live in Nassau County on Long Island, and Long Island is one of the most segregated places in the country. Intentionally designed that way. There's a lot of
Yep.
work trying to fix that. And it oftentimes it centers around education, because the majority of school funding comes from the state, not the federal government. And it's driven by property taxes. So the wealthiest
There it
communities
is.
generally get the best schools. So what I support is increasing funding from the federal government so that we can have sort of a foundational aid level. I also, I agree with Angelica when she's talking about how do we address the needs of certain communities, because let's be real, this is not going to be a quick solution, even if we increased funding from the federal government. We
Right.
need to look at the schools that have been left behind and the vulnerable communities, and give them funding to provide wraparound services, which I believe will not only help students, but could help communities and parents, and who potentially may need to learn different skills or even English, right? To help communities thrive. I think we need that. I think the federal government has never funded the IDEA for students with disabilities. They've always promised to fund it, but they've only, I believe, only funded it at a 50% level. So that is something that needs to be fixed. We need to make sure that every student in every classroom is getting the resources they need for a proper education in the country. And I'm a mom of 3. I'm the product of a public school environment, and I can tell you, I would not be here with you on the show having this conversation if I did not have public school teachers that invested in me. So I really, truly, in my heart, believe in building up the public school system. I am not a supporter of charter schools at all. I hear what Angelica is saying in certain communities, and sometimes there's unintended consequences because there has to be a transition. There are some communities where it's a circular issue. Families will choose to put their children in charter schools because their schools are crumbling and falling apart, and the resources aren't there. And then what happens?
Right.
More funding goes, and then their schools get worse. So we need a transition plan as well. But ultimately, I think we need to put a ban on charter schools and then work backwards from there to properly fund our public schools so that every child
Wow.
can learn.
That's great. Like charters, I thought they were a really good idea in the beginning, and then execution has been just
It's
pathetic.
because they were supposed to be super duper limited. How they were
Mhm.
supposed to be, it just went out of whack. I think that also we should make it easier for school districts, like I said, just to explore and to do, to really start figuring out a new way. Children are with these last 2 years of COVID. I mean, I don't think we'll get to see and really realize the loss of education we experience. I am the type, I'm a kind of radical in the way that I feel that kids need to be in school. I think that people who are making these decisions are living in a fantasy land, thinking that, like, we'll just make the veranda the school room for the kiddies. Like, what the fuck? Like, people are on top of each other. Like, people don't have proper internet. People don't have, the tools necessary to be in school. You know, people are being beaten, children being beaten, raped, molested. Like the fucking 8 years, the 8 hours that they had away from their house, that was their safe space. That was their safe time.
Right.
People are in like so like just to me it's just like if you people say that you're putting children first, no, you really aren't. Look at the pros and the cons and the loss and whatever. Like if people, we need to make it easier for people who want to stay home to stay home, people who want to do hybrid be hybrid, but we need to get our children back in schools, and we need to figure out what's going to be the best way for them to learn, because what we're seeing here is children being left behind. My baby Bernice, instead of being more education and more emotionally aware, she's actually regressing now that she's back in school, because you know she doesn't even know what her children her classmates look like. When she's learning to read, she's having a very hard time. Why are we not looking at the whole picture? And this is something that, you know, that it's really scary to me, that people are just not seeing the whole picture. You know, we need to really see and make it easier for people who to get their needs met. It's not impossible. It's not
And that's
impossible.
and
People
I
with
think
high
you
risk should be at home. People who need to get vaccinated need to get vaccinated. It's not impossible. And it's like we have people who are putting profits first and putting politics first. And this is just ridiculous. And the people around here are seeing it. My community is 60% unvaccinated. They're not Trumpers. It's for many reasons. No access, no money. They don't believe that it's free. They get secret bills every once in a while. Like they're, I don't know, I want to wait and see. Big pharma is kind of shady. All kinds of reasons. All kinds of reasons. And what the solution is education. Honestly, if people knew what they have access to and what how it really is, and they got the information, people would be choosing to make the right decisions. But now we're trying to force people into doing things, and it's really scary to me.
So one thing, and not to be the little dark rain cloud of the show tonight, but one thing that you kind of accidentally brought out was number one, COVID exposed a lot of the weaknesses in our infrastructure, a lot of weaknesses in our society. Like we're not as equipped to deal with things as we thought we were, right? And schools are definitely a big part of that, because
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a pandemic plan in place because there
Yeah.
was never a pandemic while I went to school, and same with just about
Yeah.
everybody. Like it
Yeah.
just didn't happen.
My
We
kids
didn't
had to
even
be
think of that.
homeschooled when they didn't get provided a device. For 3 months, my children didn't have a device that the school provided them. I had to go like get a little like, you know, whatever, and creative and hunt down
Right.
some like Amazon tablets that I don't know how they were cheap, and we got them. Okay. And you know what I'm saying? Like we had to get creative to make sure that my kids didn't lose out, you know, but people don't know how to do that around here. And even then, like also you have a tablet. How the hell do you turn it on? Don't know how to do that. You know,
Right.
if this would have happened to me when I was a kid, it would not have been awesome. It would not have been awesome. And I probably would have gotten some whoopings and some, you know, some
Yep.
spankings out of frustration, right? My dad was awesome and everything like that, but you know, people get
Got no
fussy.
patience. Got no
No
patience for this
patience,
stuff.
right? And people are under
Garbage.
some fantasy land world that everybody's fucking leave it to Beaver. It's not.
No, I'm
It's
terrible.
not. And it's really scary to me about like all of these things that are happening have happened that we won't know until literally decades from now.
Yeah.
That it's just it's heartbreaking to me.
And then like the other part of it is COVID exposed us, but also um, it's only when problems occur that we kind of realize what some of our other problems are. When you realize that having the schools not open meant that kids weren't eating, we have big issues here. We have so y'all can be mad at Amazon, you can be mad at this, you can be mad at that. Our
Only
kids
certain
aren't.
people knew that, though. Only certain people thought that. A lot of
California
people
actually
knew.
California actually, to their credit, did a good job with that, because they actually they had a drop off for the food, at least in
Yeah, for
Bakersfield
lunches.
they did. Yeah, for the breakfast
Yeah.
and the lunch.
There was
Yeah.
a drive by like kind of like you drive-through type thing, and they would
Yeah.
fill you up with stuff. And in fact, it became the world's, like, LAUSD became the world's biggest food bank or something like that for like that while that they were doing it, because it
Yeah.
was just so big. And they didn't ask for anything. So people who were in need, who didn't necessarily have students in LAUSD, were able to benefit from it. And it really did give some people relief in a way that is really, like, I mean, really much felt. I myself was very grateful because my husband lost his job, and right before COVID, I had wrapped up a project. And so getting a new job was like impossible with having 5 kids at
Right.
home to have to all of a sudden be a teacher for, right? So it was, I can't imagine how we could have gotten through it without LAUSD's food program.
Yeah, I'll say for here in where I live, what the school districts did was a lot of the food that they were going to have for in school lunches, they utilized that food and set up outside and let people drive by and grab
Yes.
apples and bananas and apple slice packets and all that other good stuff.
Yes.
So
that stuff's showing up at the school anyway.
yeah, that contract is written.
Yo,
Right,
Joel was like, yo,
right.
I'm about to drop off your pallet of apples, big boy. You ready to go?
Yeah.
You want it? I'm not,
You
They
know,
paid for them in
wait,
advance.
Yeah,
Melanie?
you're getting this now.
Yeah, I think that there were, I certainly where I live, I will give the schools credit. They had the food program up and running almost immediately, and they didn't ask any questions, and it was open to everyone in the school district. There were other services. I was so proud of my community during the pandemic, how everyone came together and mobilized for mutual aid. The food program for elementary school, middle school, high school kids was strong, but there, to your point, we discovered all these other fissures, right? We were getting calls from undocumented families who had babies, and they were out of formula, and they were out of diapers, and they didn't have food, and we had to act quickly. We ended up transitioning our whole campaign to a mutual aid operation. All of our grassroots supporters, we gave them large bins, and they all collected food, and we partnered with other organizations to deliver food. And a church, actually, in my district, was able to mobilize an incredible amount of food, where they would put together groceries for the week and hot meals, and twice a week folks could just drive up and they would get meals, no questions asked. But here's the kicker, right? As wonderful as that is, to be part of a community that comes together like that, no one in this country should ever have to go without food.
Right.
No one should ever do that. And I think that's the real root of the problem. To your point,
Yeah.
It's not about discovering what happens in a global pandemic. It's the fact that we are one paycheck away from all being on that line and not having, to feed our kids. And we have to stop playing defense and being so reactive, and we need to go on the offensive. And that's why I am so excited as a progressive to stand here and fight for these policies that I know are going to move the ball. I'm not going to have to fight it and move it back to where it was. We're going all the way. We're going in the end zone. We need to win, and we need to deliver for families, because it's too important.
Right. That's absolutely fantastic. I remember one guy, real quick, because I know we got to jump here, but there was one guy who pulled up. There was one guy who pulled up to the school. I remember one in front of me one day and grabbed the food, and then I grabbed the homework, and then my son just threw the food away. So we didn't even, he's too freaking picky. So and we're well off. So we didn't take it. But I remember then, as I was leaving with the homework, the guy who had just in front of me with the pickup truck, who had just gotten the food, was putting his MAGA flag back up, because he took it literally off the truck and took it down while he was getting the welfare, and then put it back up as he was leaving. So this is not just some problem for lazy Democrats, you know what I mean? And I'm using that term, the term that the right wing will use against that. So Mikey, and then we'll let Haas ask one more.
Hold on, real quick.
Go ahead, Haas.
Real quick. That's just like the reports we heard of Trumpers getting vaccinated in secret.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Well, that's always been a thing. They'll get vaccinated, but they'll have anti-vax stuff. Mikey, you wanted
Look,
to close off your thought here?
I forgot what it was. It's okay. I guess the ladies will have to just join us for another episode so I can
Yep.
remember my point.
Haas, you have
Sounds
one final question you'd like to ask before we get we're already a couple minutes over on time, so make it quick.
And,
All right.
and let me say this real quick.
we're not
I
gonna
remember-
play. We're not gonna play the prank snap. game?
We'll get to that.
Oh,
right-
you're making it sound like they're about to
No.
chat. So that's why I'm like, okay, what's up?
If the ladies have time crunches, there's a little private chat. If you can or give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. If you guys have more time, we don't want to rush you off the show. We also want to respect your time. So
Okay.
I get it.
Want me to ask
Hey, no,
that question?
We won't be mad.
We're
No, I know,
good.
especially for Melanie because
in,
she's
yeah.
out in New York. So
Yeah,
you
it's
guys can give
almost
us if-
midnight, but I'm good. I'm good. I can
Alright,
do
well-
a few more minutes for sure. Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep it 10 more minutes, then we'll get you out of here. Haas, go.
Okay, I have a question for each of you.
And it
If
is.
someone from your junior year of high school had to describe you, what would they say?
Junior year, that's very specific, sir.
It is. It
Here I
That's
thought you
so
here I thought you were going to
interesting.
ask a CRT question. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, and it's sort of when you were talking earlier about about the MAGA flag, right? If someone being too ashamed or embarrassed, right? It really had me thinking that as a society, right, we really need to stop shaming folks who need help, and we need to stop shaming people who are poor. And
Yes.
and so when you ask me what would someone say about me in my junior year of high school, I know because this later on I had found out that a student who was a year older than me shared an art class. She had once said to my teacher, well, I wish my life could be like Melanie's. Everything is perfect. She probably has a white picket fence. Now, I was an overachiever to the max in high school. I was class president. I was captain of the cheerleading team. I was the lacrosse goalie. I had the lead in the play.
Oh, they
I'm
hated
literally
you.
in my
Oh, they
yearbook more
hated
than
you.
anybody else. And I don't say this to be like, oh, look at all these things I did. My life at home was so bad that the way that I coped with it was that I threw myself into school to balance it out, to make me
Right.
feel somewhat normal, right? And so it's interesting, right? That's what someone probably would have said about my life, because that's what they did say. But what they didn't know was that we were really struggling. I didn't have parents. We struggled to eat. It was really stressful, not having money to do anything, and not knowing would I be able to go to college, and what would my future look like, after many years of struggling. So I just want to bring it back to the point of like, let's try to really be champions in our lives, and let's really try to fight for folks who are in circumstances because of society, not because they should be shamed because they were born into
Right.
poverty.
Mhm.
I agree.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, people used to think that I was like a gothic or something, which I was
Yes.
never gothic. I just like have black hair, and people just assume that all these things. I was a very I would say like I was very aggressive. I had like a wall up, and in junior high I was teased and bullied, and something happened in high school that I was just like everybody, and that's what it was, and it really worked for me in some ways and it didn't in others. In my junior year in high school, I was working 30-hour weeks. I was very exhausted, and I was very stressed, and I was very just dealing with all kinds of stuff. I was dealing with realizing things that happened to me in my childhood, and also dealing with adult predatory men in my workplace, and also dealing
Yep.
with other things, and just dealing with things that shouldn't be. And it goes back to being a poor person, a person that needs to do what they need to do to make it happen. So I think that the perception was that I was a very angry and very stressed and very ready to defend myself, but I was also very ready to defend any other people, and I was
Right.
one person that always spoke up, and I was very honest to the point that it was like, damn. But that's where I'm at, I keep it real, and no one can call me a liar. That's about, so
Right.
I was a tough person. I was dealing with a lot of things, but I had amazing friends, and we had a really good time. And I also had, people knew that I was a good person. I was, decently popular, I guess. And but it was a tough time that, a lot of people would say that I was, yeah, like on edge, and I was ready to like fight, because I've just always been very aware of like how sometimes even when you do
Right.
everything right, things are not going to turn out. And like, in 90, no, whatever, when I was like in junior high, my mom's factory shut down. She was a teamster for over 20 something years, but she didn't have enough good years or whatever that counted, and so she was 2 years short of her pension. So if people do things
Uh,
right, it doesn't fucking matter. And so I
uh,
was, I've been living, looking, and knowing the reality, like stark realities of life. And my mom, she worked the swing shift from 4 to 1 in the morning, and that means I didn't have a mom until I was like 13 years old, when finally her factory shut. Like, it's all fucked up. So like dealing with all these things and realizing that I was molested and raped as a child because my mom was working, and da 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 da, and having and seeing how like it's all connected, and it doesn't matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat, because everybody around here is Democrats. And just
yeah.
being there, I've always been too like thinking of too many things, and so I was a heavy
And
kid probably because of that, like, on edge. I
and
would
it's
say.
No, you're not
and to
alone.
piggyback on that, I have a few dozen friends that live in Europe, and when I describe like day-to-day life in America and like how our society is set up and how the state and local and all the governments on there, like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like my buddy lives in Sweden, and when they had children, they get 300 days of maternity care that the couple can split. So
Mhm.
he gave her 200 and he took 100. That's
Mhm.
3 months off with your baby.
Yep.
Yeah, and we get two
Yep.
weeks.
How yeah,
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
how
Yeah, some
Get
people
beneficial
do.
is
three
that?
months,
Yeah,
but they're not paid. They're like, do what you will. you know.
Yeah, and
yeah, you
then
get
and I think they're
FMLA and get
comp,
like 60% of your pay. Thanks, but
mhm.
Yeah.
most people can't.
Yeah.
Most people can't live
But
off
that's from
100%
the
of their pay.
but that's but that's
Exactly.
but that's from the government, and I think it's 80. It's not full, but it's from the state. Like,
Yeah.
everyone gets this. And then
Yeah.
like it's just a totally different way of living a life where
Mhm.
your first priority isn't how do I survive this month. You once your needs are met, now it's like,
Mhm.
where can I progress? How can we progress as a people? How can we
Mhm.
progress as a neighborhood or as a community
Yeah.
when we're not worried about where the next meal is coming from?
Yes. When I
Yeah.
hear something interesting, part of the reason why I was able to do as well as I did in my campaign was because I was unemployed, and there was a supplemental income coming in, and technically
No.
my husband was making more money than he did before, and we were kind of even, and we knew because it was guaranteed that we were going to have it for X amount of time. And it was nice, the peace of mind, and in that
Yeah.
regard. Well, to on top of, like, I mean, believe me, it was no what was no cruise over here. It was like we were dealing with the kids, school, this, that, and the other, the house breaking down. Like,
Right.
my dad passed away in the middle of it all. Like, all of these things were happening, but not having to worry about the bills on
Yeah.
top of that, because we live a low budget life. So it was amazing, and it was such a different way to live. It was I felt like I did have a veranda. You know what I mean? Like, I felt so it was so
Ah,
nice to
Step
be
into the
at
veranda.
peace. that
but
literally,
then people
like,
wonder
the
why.
government subsidized my campaign in many ways.
But then people wonder why people don't want to go back to the old way, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the funny thing is, by accident, Trump ended up empowering American workers by, signing that stimulus plan, and now people were like, why the fuck should I go back to work for $10 an hour when I've been making the equivalent of $50,000 a year for half a year,
That's right.
$26,000 a year over 26 weeks. Yeah, why would you want to go back to work to selling yourself for half slave wages? So
Oh,
I
one
know
more
we
quick
got to
thing
get
on
you
that.
guys rolling.
And then
yeah.
being treated like trash on top of the low pay.
And I got a
Thank
buddy.
you.
And I got
Yes,
a
I'm an
and I,
HR. I'm an HR lady. And believe
oh
me, I
no.
see it fucking
Oh no.
firsthand. The people who work the hardest, who give most of themselves, their body, their everything, get paid the worst. They're micromanaged up to the fullest. You gotta clock out for this. You gotta clock out for that. It's disgusting, and that's I don't like being an HR lady. But because you have only so much power, but I try and utilize it. I make people aware of their rights or this, or like, hey, you're not paying them right, and I make sure that things go out the way they need to be within my ability. But believe me, like, it's very few HR. It's a it's a tough job for someone who's a good person. And believe me, my friends who are in HR, we have a very hard time because we are so limited. We are so limited in our power, and those people with the money, they have no loyalty to you. None.
Yeah, and you're kind of caught in the middle because you have to look out for the company and the person at the same time, right? So it can be a catch 22.
So
I make sure that the workers' rights are protected, and that protects the company, and that's my angle.
Right.
I'm like, we gotta do the legal thing, and that covers yours, okay? But I make sure that people get paid out correctly, that we make sure that we're following the law, and that we make sure that they understand what their rights are.
Right.
So
Mikey?
I have a former friend who was a huge Invermectin Trumper. I got 100 guns around the house guy. And then COVID happened, and he got laid off, and then got his money, and then he found like something else to do. And he was working less time. So he wasn't doing his main gig. He wasn't getting his 50 hours. He was only getting like 25, 30. And he was like, you know what? Working 3 days a week, it is so nice being home with my wife. I had no idea how much fun it is when we hang out together during the day, because she's working from home, and then he got to be home twice as much. He's like, you know what? I love this. Like, I love being with her. I didn't realize how much I missed her. And this is from the biggest dick I've ever met, even bigger than Dutch.
I'm just saying.
No.
No, he was worse.
Hold on.
Let's not get crazy.
Let's not.
But you know what? It's exactly. We've been hearing this from so many people, conservatives, who like they're just obsessed with like work, to be able to think about like, oh my, what am I doing with the fruit of my labor? Like until like when I'm super duper old or whatever. There's a lot of blessings and a lot of things that came like from the community coming out and doing mutual aid. Melanie, you mentioned it. To see it, it's so beautiful, but at the same time you're like, well, they shouldn't have to be doing this, but it's so beautiful to see. The last few months of my dad's life, we were spending so much time with each other that, like, blessing, you know what I mean? Like, things happen for a reason, and I really do hope that the worst of it is over in regards to the pandemic, and I really do hope that we can hold on to the good that has come out of it, which is community coming together and people realizing that we deserve better and that our time is precious, which is why I say I'm only going to give 6 years to Congress. I don't want to be in the pit of vipers for like more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
already planning our exit plan. I love that. So, but let's get you on the entrance plan first. Melanie, how can people
lag out in the middle of their question?
I'm going to assume the question is, how can people help?
Did I cut out? Yeah, I'm sorry.
You did. That's okay.
Internet. Internet only costs $100 a month here. Why should it work?
Somebody's flipping that damn fuse again.
Yeah. No, that problem's over. Yeah, but how can people find and support your campaign, Melanie?
Yeah, I'm certainly go to our website at www.dorigo2022.com. I'm also on Twitter at Dorigo Melanie or Dorigo for Congress on Insta and Facebook.
All right, same question.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. You can find me at all the social medias, Angelica, the number 4CA, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. I don't have any TikToks, but you can find me there. And then our website, Angelica, the number 4Congress.com. And we are 100% people powered. So if you are so inclined, please drop us some cash if you can. If not, sign up to volunteer. Even if you're not local, we will be having some opportunities coming up. So please sign up. And thank you so much for having us.
No, and let me just part with you, ladies, by saying two things. Hopefully, we've created some BFFs here today. Number one, between you two, and
my
Haas,
best friend.
Haas also. Yeah,
The
three of you can be best friends, and you guys have. You know, I can't speak for Melanie's district as much, but you guys have slightly smaller areas. Angelica, I think you're Van Nuys and Sylmar and maybe Chatsworth. I don't remember if Chatsworth's in it or not.
It's
But
like the East San Fernando Valley. It's like Sylmar, North
Yeah.
Hollywood, to like Sunland to Van Nuys, and like pretty much everything in between.
And Melanie's is like on Long Island. So like you guys can win this race because you can get out and about in the community, right, and not have to worry about going across the entire state. Or is Melanie's yours a little bit bigger?
It is now as of today.
Yeah. Good.
Look, we don't have a national ban on gerrymandering. And I think what we're seeing in states across the country, if they're Republican controlled, you're getting a lot of red districts. And if they're Democrat controlled, you're getting a lot of Dem districts. So the good news is that my district got bluer. We're now a D+14 district. The bad news is that, and I shouldn't say bad news. It's not real bad news. I guess the district now is still a little over 2/3 in Long Island, but it now goes all the way up to the Connecticut border along the coast, which is pretty
No worries.
far.
We'll get Tim Bristol out there to help you.
I need a boat. No,
yeah.
Here's the thing. Like
This grilled cheese truck out there.
Yeah, gas up a truck, Tim.
I don't mind though. No one works harder, right, than our team, and we're very excited to go meet our new constituents. Absolutely. What I get concerned about is the ability to give everybody equal attention, because now we span 5 counties, and if you know New York, you might look on a map and say, well, it's not that far of a drive, but New York traffic is real, and you could spend 7 or 8 hours in a car going from one side to the other side of the district. So from a constituent service perspective, I get nervous. Not nervous, but I get concerned, because I'm a very hands-on type of organizer. I like to be in my community. I like to go to events. I like to hear from the people about the issues that are important to them. And, we want to be an effective representative, that's what we're really striving to do here. So, I think it's a very unconventional map that was drawn. We're connected by a bridge. So,
you don't say.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe that would be. I mean, Democrats gerrymander too, so but
yes.
Usually it seems to be a Republican legislator things that are the most impactful in a negative way, but Democrats definitely do it also. So
our district got way better, you guys. So I don't know who was doing what, but our district got better.
I'm not far from you, so we'll talk offline. So
yes.
We'll see what I can. I'm trying to help Bruno Amato up in Bakersfield and Lauren Hubbard up in Fresno. And I'll get you in with those two guys as well, because there's a good coalition there in California.
We're not going to do the prank Mary Snap.
All right. So we usually play a game, but we went over. So if you guys want to play one last game, that'll take about 3 minutes. We can do that, but I know
Molly's like, I can do this. I can.
Yeah.
I know.
right, well,
Sorry for my low energy tonight. I'm
No,
just
it's all right. We'll do
midnight.
we'll do
We don't have to play. We don't have to
No,
play.
we'll
I
do-
just-
we-
It's okay. 3 minutes. I can. I can
we'll do
it.
The title of
Melanie first. So we're gonna play a game. It's called Prank One, Marry One, Snap One.
What if
Okay.
we give them, to save time, what if we give them both the same 3 people?
Sounds good. Well, let's do that. So what you guys are gonna do is you're gonna pick one to prank, one to marry, one to snap. We'll give you
What's
both
snap?
the same. Snap is our
Thanos.
way of saying, if you've watched Avengers,
Oh,
snap away.
Oh.
Snap them. You're gonna snap them out of existence, but you're not killing them
snap
because
them away. Okay, got it.
yes, because that's
We can't.
that's
we can't
against
say-
terms of
Wait.
service.
So what is it? It's marry, snap, and what's the other one?
Prank.
Frank,
So-
Mary,
Prank,
snap.
marry, snap. Okay.
Prank.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So you can use prank as proxy for the F word, or as actually
We would
just
never
prank calling
say
someone.
that during
Yeah.
a live.
I'm gonna go
Oh.
with prank.
yes.
I'm a married
So-
woman.
My
Yeah.
husband is okay. Go.
This is
Yes.
this is not the real. This is
This is not okay.
hypothetical.
So we'll
Everybody
all right.
has a list. Let's not pretend that there
Everyone
isn't
has a
of
list. All right.
celebrities, okay.
but again, prank one, prank call one, marry one, snap one out of existence. Haas, you've been itching the trigger finger to play this game, so go ahead, give them the first choice.
All right. Well, mine is kind of my first one was kind of slanted towards Melanie. So
All right.
keep
Well,
that in
bro.
mind.
all right.
Okay.
Eli Manning.
Eli
Okay.
Manning. Okay.
Okay.
I will go completely different. I will go with Michael B. Jordan. All right, Mikey.
Prince.
He's already
Okay.
dead. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a
So
fantasy game.
Prank-
All right.
prank one, marry one, snap one.
Star Wars.
Okay.
Melanie, go first.
Okay. So I'm definitely marrying Prince.
Hmm.
I guess I'm pranking.
No pressure from the husband because Prince is actually dead. So
I'm pranking Michael B. Jordan, I guess, and I'm snapping Eli Manning. I know it's terrible. I am a Giants fan, but you know,
he threw too many picks. All right.
I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I'm going to reserve.
Yeah. Now you're
Daniel-
really trying to mess with our campaign.
Daniel Jones, prank
I
one,
mean,
marry
look,
one,
Peyton
snap.
Manning was something. Eli Manning, you know, over the course of his career, yeah. Look, we love Eli Manning, but I never felt like he had the oomph. You know.
A prank.
All right.
He's always going to be the little brother.
All right, Angelica, you have Eli Manning, you have Michael B. Jordan, and you have Prince. Prank one, marry one, snap one. Go.
I don't know who Eli Manning is.
He's the
He's
okay.
the
Give her a
quarterback
different
of
one.
the Giants, the New York
Give her a
Giants.
different
Was
one,
a
Haas.
Okay. You need a different one? I got you. I got you. Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars.
Oh, you
Ooh,
dirty
okay.
dog. You dirty dog.
Prince, Bruno, and Michael B. Jordan. Oh my god. Okay. That's hard. Okay, I guess I will marry Prince.
Well, you're both married to Prince. It's a
Yeah.
it's a party.
'Cause he-
Okay.
It's the boots and the perm.
yeah, and then like the music and
And
You
the
girls
blouse.
want some?
it's like
You
multi-
girls want some
Individuality,
pancakes?
not
No.
afraid
I
to
can
be
give you-
himself. You know.
I can
Oh,
give you
you
girls
need
some
so many
pancakes.
songs and
You guys
talent
can share
and-
clothes. You guys can share clothes.
Yeah, and then like the Dave Chappelle stories of him kind of like really
Oh,
like
hilarious.
you
I've
know?
got my girl in LA and I've got my girl in NY and they both love my pancakes.
Yeah, yeah. So probably Prince, but we can't see other people, so we have to change the rules on that. And then I probably prank, I guess, Bruno Mars, and then we can snap Michael Jordan. I don't know. Like those
All
are
right.
hard because he's I don't know.
Yeah. I will say I'm a big fan of the MCU, so really appreciate the snap.
All right. Well, we love
We would
nerds
never-
here on this show.
We would
Total
never
nerd.
say the K word because that would be totally against terms of service to talk about on the
Yep.
streaming platforms.
Oh,
But
now
Thanos
I
snapping.
get it. I totally didn't mean to snap Michael Jordan. Oh well.
No, he's gone
Oh.
until you get
You're
all
sorry.
the Infinity Stones. You
Sorry.
got to get the collected.
Too late. That snap can't be undone. All right.
Prince is like, Prince just comes over in a purple
Well,
velvet
if-
suit. Oh, too late for that, baby.
We got to
It's
call
too late for that.
Ant-Man to undo the snap.
Oh, I'm so sad that it was Paul Rudd that saved the universe. Like,
I
that disgusts
mean-
me.
I mean,
I
but
hate
isn't
him.
that kind of life? Isn't that such a metaphor for life?
The guy whose
It is.
face I want to punt is the guy who saves us from Thanos.
Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is
on.
punchable face, king of the world. So,
Next
just
time we
bugs me.
play, we have to play with, I think, the characters from the Marvel universe.
well,
I think that would be
unfortunately,
good.
no one,
Oh,
none
we
of
already
us,
know
Dress
who won.
like them?
No one knows what?
we didn't ask good enough questions during 4 Down Territory to determine that you guys had nerd sides. So that is the problem. So
I
I
mean,
didn't
that's
wanna-
that's
I didn't
on
big
wanna-
miss,
that's on
big
us.
miss.
That's on us. Okay, that's on us and Haas and his personal questions. So all right.
No, it was a good question, Big House. Don't pay him no mind. And I
Oh.
also gave you an N with a tilde on it.
All right, guys.
I love that.
Because
I see you, brother.
I'm like an influencer.
You guys have
you
been fantastic. We appreciate you very much, and especially for
So
staying
much
over by
fun.
like a half an hour. So thank
I'm
you
glad
very
I was
much.
on time today.
Yes.
Thank you,
thanks.
everybody.
Yeah,
thank you,
thank
Melanie.
you.
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
And-
you too, and thanks so much, everyone, for having us.
Yeah.
Really nice to
All
meet
right.
you all.
And
Well, we'll do
Jason
what we
will
can
be
to help you
chatting
guys
later.
out. We
Yeah.
will
I'll expect
absolutely.
your message.
All right.
We'll do.
One more quick
All right.
thing.
Oh,
Angelica,
yeah.
there is one thing in your Twitter DMs. It's the keyboard command so that you can add the tilde anytime you want.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. On my phone, I can do it, but not on the computer. It's like,
That's what I sent.
dang, yeah.
You hold
Awesome.
Alt and you hit 164, and then you let go, and then
Oh.
it throws up a tilde for you.
Yes, I'm gonna put a freaking sticker on my computer now. Yay! Thank
and the
you.
capital N is 165. Ah.
Well, dang! Look at that. You learn something new.
Look
every
at the
day.
big brain on Brad.
Amazing.
So much fun, you guys. I didn't know what it was gonna be like today, but I'm super duper happy. It was just amazing.
Good.
So thank you, and Melanie, again, a pleasure.
So nice to see you again. Thanks so much. I'm
All right,
going
guys.
to bed.
Good night.
Bye, Melanie.
Good night.
Good
Good night,
night.
guys. All
Oh,
righty.
we got you.
So, whoa, too close to me there. There you go. Get away from me.
Don't stand so close to me.
Move
Don't
back.
stand,
All right.
don't stand so close
I
to me.
loved what you guys did last week, Mikey. So why don't you
What you
do
talking
that
about?
again? Oh, and let's give out our Patreon and everything first, and then we'll replay the intro music.
What you talking about? Oh, okay. I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the Patreon pitch. Is that what's going
Yeah.
on right now?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Patreon pitch.
All right. Listen, you little mongrels. I'm sick of you guys not giving us all your cash. I know you all just got your W-2s. I know they came in the mail. They came in that little square postcard looking joint with the little rip-away sides. I know it's sitting on your kitchen table right now. What you're going to do, you're going to go to H&R Blocks. You're going to go to Jackson Hewitt. You're going to get that bad boy advanced to you. Liberty.
Wrong Liberty, but yeah.
No, that's the wrong one. We're talking about Liberty Tax Service.
Oh,
They
you
got they got the dude in the Statue of Liberty costume flipping the sign on the street.
every time I see him, that song plays in my head.
Really?
They shouldn't have named it. They shouldn't have played it. They shouldn't have named it Liberty. That's not my fault.
Yeah.
That's their theme song now. But after you get your tax money, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go straight to www.patreon.com/digonamerica, and you're gonna make it rain on us. Make them dollar bills flow. Yeah, because if you do, you're gonna be able to see a lot of the very awesome new Patreon exclusive. That's what we've been doing wrong this whole time, Dutch. That's why no one goes to the Patreon. We've been giving away the milk for free. No longer. You guys are getting a glass of milk only.
right.
Speak
And
it,
we don't-
Obama.
We will
And
not
then
be
we're
your
taking the-
podcast thoughts anymore.
You almost went into Obama. You almost went into Obama voice there. You said, "You're giving away the milk? No longer."
No longer will you get the milk for free. You're gonna have to pay for the whole cow if you want it. That's so stupid.
Like Michelle makes me pay for.
I've never had a glass of milk.
Not a glass of
wasn't
milk?
made
I'd
that-
totally drink it because milk is good.
and all the milk she gives me is almond milk. It's not the same thing. It's different.
I'll drink it.
I have a peanut allergy. Can't have them. I have to drink condensed milk. That's all she'll give me.
Oh, she definitely condensed.
Stop.
What?
man, you trying to get the man? You ain't look, Michelle Hive. Don't come for us, please.
Oh,
He
Michelle.
didn't mean it.
Hey, if
He
y'all
didn't
got
mean it.
problems with me appreciating the beauty that she is, then come as you will.
What are you
because
talking about? I've heard all over
Michelle
Twitter that
Obama's fine.
Michelle was a man. Her name was Michael, and everyone
Okay.
says it's true, so it must be true.
Well,
Mark
I ain't
Levin
said
said
that.
it was
you can
true.
think, hey, the more people that think that, the better. Because fingers
No,
crossed.
she's
More for me.
She's not getting divorced. It's not happening.
Hey, you never know.